Hello, I'm Sam Muscat and I'm your host, and you're listening to The Local, coming to you directly from Altona. If you'd like to be a part of The Local, you can get in contact with Scarlett Rose, and there'll be more details at the end of this episode. So stay tuned to this episode, and thank you for joining us. With me today I have Daviv. Daviv D, I'm guessing it's right. Davi. Beautiful name too, by the way.
Thank you.
From the Altona-Based Artist, that's what you are.
That's what I am.
Thank you for joining us here on The Local today. I'm just really interested, besides the name, what is it that you actually do and why do you do it?
Okay, I'm an Altona-based artist, but art is it's such a cover for so many things. It's a blanket term that gets used for so many things. What I'm really trying to do is promote the use of arts in Altona, right? Especially through the local community centers. It's great that the Traders Association is very interested in the arts and is interested in supporting the local community, because the arts is the thing that makes our soul sing, right?
So true, isn't it?
We have to have the practical side of our day-to-day life. We have to, eat, sleep, have shelter, make money. Money's just a means of exchange, and we just have to.
That's very artistic.
Well, it is. If we were swapping seashells or something, we could do the same thing. But the notion that art makes our soul sing, and it could be the performing arts or music or visual arts or any kinds of things that moves us past that level of subsistence. And we certainly don't just have a subsistence existence in Altona. Okay. Altona is just the best kept secret in Melbourne, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. How long have you been in Altona for?
25 years.
25 years.
25 years.
There's a song. I was just trying to think of the song, and I can't think of it.
In the year
right
2525?
Yeah, the year 2525. So good. So did you pick Altona, or did Altona pick you?
My dog picked Altona.
Okay, this is interesting.
Okay, when I was moving here from the United States, because that's where I'm from.
I was going to ask you that question.
And
you knew that, didn't you?
But I'm from the part of the United States that is the least like the United States in so many ways. It is from southern Louisiana, which is very French. Beautiful. Very, very French. Comme ci, comme ça, mes chers, Ooh, Anyway, I could go on. Anyway, my dog, I brought with me from the United States. I came here with my partner, and the idea was, if I don't bring the dog, I want to move back to the United States. So she said, bring the dog, So I went through all the rigmarole of importing a dog. And when I got my dog out of quarantine up in Spotswood, I had to go register my dog at Hobson's Bay, because that's where I was living. We were living over here next to the, in Newport, next to the quarantine station, So I had to go register my dog, and it was in Altona. So the dog led us to Altona.
Altona, wow.
So I looked, we were driving around, I said, Pier Street. You think there's a pier at the end of Pier Street?
Did you really?
Drove down there. There was this beach. It was February. It was summer. There was nobody on it. If this had been Southern California, it would have been jam-packed with people, overrun. It was just like there's nobody here.
No, well, 25 years ago, it would have been a bit quiet.
It was very quiet, and I was going, what's wrong with this? I'm moving here,
Next to the beach.
Next to the...
fresh air.
And everybody goes, oh, Altona, that's where the refineries are. He said, yeah, just stay away. Don't come down here.
So did you start off doing your art back then?
Well, here's the thing, is that my degrees are in fine arts.
Yep.
Master's degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, from some very nice institutions in the United States. But because I'm a very practical person, I've finally, reconciled myself with, is that I learned to do other things in order to support myself. Computer programming, for example, geographic information systems, various kinds of technologies that had to do with data management and data engineering. And so that's
pretty heavy stuff.
It's just anybody can read, you know. You just read the book, you know.
Just read the book.
But to be honest, to be fair, I learned how to do this stuff when anybody who read the book was the expert, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a time when,
I hear you.
You know, when if you actually picked up the manual, you were the expert. So that's how I made my living. So when I moved here, they said, yeah, come on down. We need people like you, you know, geographic information systems, you know, data mining, engineering. So I got a job with a couple. I've always been working for engineering companies doing analysis of environmental things, all right, where the bugs and bunnies live, how if we develop this piece of land over here, what's going to happen to the environment? You know, if we change the course of this river, what's likely to happen? Blah, 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 blah. You know, all of that sort of thing is what is, which actually kind of led me to my interest in the kinds of painting that I do now, because it's about environment, it's about geology, it's about the geologic time of how long it takes for things to change.
So basically working within the industry has given you that art...
given me the viewpoint that when I come here with fresh eyes and look at this, it's like, this is the oldest landscape on the planet. There are no mountains here. Therefore, there are no rivers. You know, you need a drop in altitude for water to aggregate, for there to be water, right? So you have vast swaths of open land, and this landscape was so amazing.
So when do you think you had that vision then? Because, you know, when you've come here 25 years ago, nothing's around. You're working for an organisation.
But you see, because I was working for the environmental organization, the engineering companies, it was my job to go out into the field and actually do GPS of various things in order to write reports to get the data and that sort of thing. So that actually dragged me out into the field to see the stuff that was out here.
Right.
I was going, oh my God, this is...
And that inspired you.
And that inspired me.
Fantastic.
You know, I mean, I was an artist already, but I was making things that were more sculptural, you know, and rather than just painting landscapes, because that's so corny, you know.
So that's amazing. I mean, that's a great story too, you know, from basically engineering and all of that, and that's also working with the environment has given you that inspiration to think from an artist's perspective too.
And to capture this vision of this land. You know, I mean, it's not going to disappear overnight, but
no, of course not.
But the things that impress me the most about some kinds of art, for example, there are extraordinary paintings of Southern California, of the Hollywood Hills before there was anybody there.
Yeah.
There are extraordinary paintings of the coastline in the United States before anybody was there. There are extraordinary paintings of that stuff. It's a preservation. It's our duty to preserve that vision, and we can see that either to love or lament.
Yeah, true.
You've
got a great passion for that. I can already feel it.
You know?
Even just by that expression.
Oh my God, it used to look like this.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I just wonder, you know, I spent time in San Francisco and
There you go.
I wonder what it would be like in San Francisco Bay back then, before the Golden Gate Bridge even.
Before you know, the hills were already there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the hills were already there. The islands were already there. The populations of the various critters. You know, the population of the penguins. The populations of the penguins. I live in a country where there's friggin' penguins. You know, you know. I wanted to pull that out as a stranger in this land. I wanted to paint the landscape. This is what a stranger sees when they come here, guys, you know? How many Australians have been to Ningaloo Reef
Yeah.
or Coober Pedy or, Kakadu? The first place I went to was Kakadu.
That would have been an experience.
And then to see the rock art,
yes.
to see 40,000 years of rock art. Somebody, honest to God, the gallery at Ubira Rock is just like a big chalkboard. And here's how you catch the long-necked turtle.
Yeah.
And here's how you.
I love that. That's so good.
It's here's how you do this. This is how. And then there's a thylacine way at the top of the cliff. A
And they are
thylacine
cliffs.
painting.
And they are cliffs.
At the top, it's a painting of
Yeah.
a thylacine. It's like you're going to lose it, but you don't know when.
Exactly. True. You just don't know when.
And then seeing Aboriginal art that is so non-European space.
Yeah.
Non-European space storytelling and preservation of vision. I got into that big time. It's like, I have got to have this stuff.
So would you say that was an inspiration also then?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I can feel that.
I had to buy it. It's like,
Wow.
Nobody's buying this stuff. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
It is just, the mark making is really is just extraordinary.
So do you find it rewarding working in Altona?
Yes, I do actually, because it allows me to not have to be compressed all the time. All right, it's a very relaxed community. Very everything I need is here. Everything is within walking distance. I can go get a blood test, or I can go have a coffee.
Which you didn't get me one today.
Oh, didn't have my blood test today either.
So from you could almost say 25 years in Altona, you've really grown into this community, haven't you?
Absolutely.
And you feel a real great part of the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just am very passionate about, I'm so glad that it's available for the people that want to live here. And, my partner's grandson and her kids, I helped raise them. Their grandson comes over, he goes swimming, at the beach,
Of course.
And it's passing that along, and it's very family-oriented. But it's also very sophisticated, too, given half the chance.
Yeah, and well, I think, as you've said rightly so, if you look at the 25 years that you've spent in Altona and continue to spend in Altona, you would have seen the growth, you would have seen the diversity within the community too, let alone within the different businesses and that growth. So I reckon that would make you feel more so a part of the community.
Yeah, and it hasn't prepified or gentrified.
Well said.
It hasn't become too
Stuffy?
Yeah, and it hasn't become too trendy either.
Yeah.
It's still kind of scruffy around the edges.
Okay, that's cute. I like that.
I like that a lot.
So what would you say was your favourite part about being in Altona?
Oh, God. It's got to be being next to the train station.
Next to the train station. What is it that is it the tracks or is it?
It's the idea of mobility. The idea that I can, I have everything. I can be mobile. I can be, or I can hear the sounds of that stuff moving through.
Wow.
I like being next to the beach. I can see the change and the tides, the tidal changes. The other night we had an aurora. Could walk down to the beach and see off of the pier, the green haze of the light of the aurora.
You don't know how lucky you are, because I've on another part of what I do, I've got an astronomer from the Isle of Man.
There you go.
And he's going to be in Melbourne. We're introducing him as a guest speaker with another organisation, but you'll need to come to that. But he was talking about the southern skies and talking about the aurora. So you got to see it.
And the notion that, everything is so northern hemisphere dominated,
So it is.
And I see the Southern Cross, or I see other things, Cassiopeia's throne.
Yep.
I see other things that I don't see, It's like, here's the Southern Cross. Oh my God, here's the Aurora Australis,
Yep. Fantastic.
And these are the things that is so not dominated by that locality of Britain or the United States or Europe, and here it is entirely different.
I like how you said, Britain and the United States, because here it's Australia, and as you rightly so say, it's Altona. And just to walk back a step, what's some of the things that you've painted from an artistic point of view about Altona and that? Give us a bit of a vision about that.
Well, I try to give myself time to be bored.
I'm thinking that's difficult for you.
Well, time to get bored so that you can think about what it is that you're going to do next, And the idea that I'm on sand and sand changes, but it doesn't really. I've painted very little about Altona, if you want to know the truth.
That's all right.
But I painted I've painted the landscape around Altona, starting in Werribee Gorge.
Oh, okay.
The headwaters of the water that runs down through here, right? And that's really important to know where your water sources are coming from,
Okay, excellent.
I've done a lot of kayaking out in the bay. And the kinds of things that I want to continue to paint excuse me, are the spots around Australia that people don't necessarily want to travel to. Altona's my home, my comfort spot.
Yep.
My nest,
Like that.
And I'm glad you brought it up about painting it, because I really should, but I haven't,
You know what I was thinking, and I'll give you an idea here.
All right.
With your vision. I was thinking you could actually paint the old Altona and encompass some of the new parts of Altona in that.
Ooh.
That's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an idea.
Yeah, but I also wanted to reflect on that you recently had an exhibition here too. How did that go down?
Oh, it was remarkably well received.
Excellent.
It was actually a collaborative work a collaboration exhibit between an artist, Julie Latimer, who weaves with paint. I mean, literally weaves with paint, and my paintings that I had done of Ningaloo Reef.
Okay.
The way Julie paints is she pours paint on a surface, lets it dry, cuts it into strips, and weaves it. Amazing. I go out into the field with a box of crayons and oil pastels and pencils and stuff and draw, right? I draw from life. I draw from what I see. And then I take a lot of pictures about, what's going to, what the ambient light is and that sort of thing. Come back into the studio and then I paint pictures of it, right? It was a collaborative painting exhibition of her work and my work that just really complemented each other.
That's great.
And the thing about painting, when you see it in life and you're trying to capture the light, you're trying to capture the shapes, you're trying to capture it is what you see. You get back into the studio and you have time to think about what the colors are. And a piece of color next to juxtaposition to this versus the same color and juxtaposed to a different color gives you an entirely different combination.
Yeah, okay.
And her work did the same thing. So that's what was really neat.
So you've combined those two different art forms in a sense and brought them into one exhibition.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's pretty much the theory of color in general. Is that you juxtapose one color next to another color, and then you juxtapose it to another color, and it changes. And that's what was really interesting about seeing the aurora.
Yes.
Was that you're used to seeing yellow and orange, but you never see green.
Green, no, true.
And it's like, holy cow.
And that's so true. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? The aurora. So this idea that I've just got into your mind in regards to painting the old with a little bit of the new around, the aurora could show into that too.
It's so true. It's true. And it's always juxtaposing two different contrasting things together, And they either make sense or they don't make sense, but eventually they do.
And I think that's right. Even with your expression in regards to having a joint exhibition, you're seeing two different lights, two different art forms, but becoming one.
And, my painting is very traditional. Oil on canvas, framed. Very traditional, or time-tested, very traditional kind of methodology, right? Don't let that fool you.
Good point. But why not?
Well, because because I'm not an Aboriginal. I don't paint dots. I don't paint lines. I don't use ochres. I don't culturally appropriate that. Right? It's a form that is traditional. It's like playing a piano. It's a traditional form. It's a traditional instrument.
Correct.
And you can do a lot of stuff with that. You still can do a lot of stuff with that.
David, you've actually inspired me. You really have. And that vision that I've painted, I wish I could paint that vision that I've actually, in a sense, challenged you to paint.
It's not hard. It's whoever reads the book is the expert.
So how do people get in contact with you? Do you have a web page?
I do indeed. I actually have an Paintings by Dovey D. That's spelled Paintings, B-Y, by Dovey D. My name is spelled D-O-V-E-Y. My last name is D, spelled D-E-E, at facebook.com. And I do have an email address, which is artinfo, all one word, at dd-em.com.
David, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of the local. Your passion, your care, and your love for Altona really shines.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's just been a blast having a good talk about Altona. I can talk all day.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe that. But you've got to give our regards to Tex.
Tex is the...
Because he could be in that painting that I've just...
Tex, my dog, studio dog. He's like the fourth dog I've had since I've been here. It shows you how long I've been here. I'm my fourth dog.
But all the very best to you.
Thank you.
Keep the spirit, and hopefully the years will bring many great artwork from you, Debbie.